Hello everyone. Today I want to answer a question that was posed to me in my last teacher training module. And it's an important question in and of itself, but it also opens the door to a larger subject. So I want to address that subject as well. So the question was in the context of a weekend-long training module on hands-on assisting. So for 2 days straight, that's all we did was hands-on assisting. And then near the end of the second day, one of my students said, well, there are people that don't like to be touched. And the question was, so what do you do in the situation when you have someone in your class who doesn't like to be touched? And my answer was kind of enigmatic in the beginning. I said, well, I'm not a restaurant. And people were looking at me like, what does that mean? What I meant was, that was my initial response, I'm not a restaurant. I felt like that question leads to people taking orders in class. So they get to say, I'll have some hands-on adjustment with that, but I don't like incense, Sanskrit sometimes, light on the flowers, etc. So what happens when I have someone in my class who doesn't like to be touched? And my plain answer, my regular answer to that is, they just don't come back to my class. That's it, because I'm not a restaurant. In my class, if you come to my class, you shall be touched, right? That's just the way it is. I know how I teach. I know how I want to teach. I know where I want to go with my students. I know how I want to get there. So in my class, there's hands-on assisting. There's a little bit of incense sometimes. There are flowers. There is Sanskrit, among many other things. But I'm just kind of pulling these things out because I've worked in studios where they're like, no, we don't like incense, or no flowers because people might be allergic, or no Sanskrit because people have different religious backgrounds, etc. And I don't think that's a healthy way to teach, by taking orders and individualizing for every single person all the little aspects of what they want to experience in a yoga class. I know where I'm going with my students. I know where I want to take them. I'm solid in my teaching. And once I start to change that for each individual person, my teaching gets lost and it becomes diluted. The danger for you as an individual teacher when you start to do that is that you become, little by little, no one. You become a commodity. You become replaceable in a studio environment because you are like all the other teachers. There's nothing that's going to make you stand out for you to be solid in what you want to offer people. I know that studios work in a different way. Their objective is volume, is quantity. But as an individual teacher, I feel it's really important for you to go for quality instead of quantity. So go for the long term, right? It might be difficult in the beginning when you're like, this is what I do and this is how I do it, and there's like 3 people in your class. That's really hard to deal with. But when you go that way, when you take that route, you'll have a longer teaching career, if that's what you want. It's really important for you to be centered in what you want to teach. It's really important for you to define your teaching and how you want to get there. What are the techniques that you use, and be solid with that. And I'm not saying to not be open to feedback, but you need to be open to feedback from specific people. So if I feel uncertain about something that I might be offering, or if I feel like, maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I should not have rented space in this particular studio because it doesn't vibe with my students, or whatever, right? I won't just ask anybody. I'll ask my students who get me, who buy into what I'm about, who understand my vision, because they can tell me honestly if I've deviated from my vision. And deviating from a vision is different from evolving. So you can always move and change your teaching, but you have to know where you're going. If you deviate, then you just get lost. And the more you deviate and the more that you take feedback from anybody, the more diluted your whole teaching will become. So what happens if you work in a studio and the studio director says to you, well, I've had a complaint about your class. Well, it depends on what you want. Do you want quality or quantity? Are you cultivating your tribe for you? Or are you more concerned about the volume of people that are coming into the studio? So it's kind of tricky because you're working for a studio, so out of respect, right, you want to respect their need for volume. But at the same time, it's not your problem, really, right? If you're in it for the long haul, if you see yourself teaching for a long time, you have to think about your teaching and your tribe. So if a studio director, again, comes to you and says there's been a complaint about your teaching, I would just say, thank you for letting me know, and then drop it. And then if it turns into a situation that's just really bad for you in the studio and whatever, then you know that you should just move on. So I feel really passionate about each teacher defining clearly for himself or herself what it is they're teaching, develop their own style, develop their own unique way of transmitting their lineage or their own creativity or their own unique vision about yoga, where they want to go, and be faithful to that, and be sure to only listen to opinions that really matter. Thank you. So be sure to subscribe to my channel and check out any of my other yoga videos. And remember that I have a yoga teacher training program. It's only in France for now, but we have a new cycle starting in October with Ayurveda, and that's going to be in Nice. And throughout the year, we'll be traveling also to Marseille, Aix-en-Provence, Paris, Lyon, and Lille. And I have a few more modules left in Montélimar. So check that out on my website. And see you soon. Bye.